Hi everyone, class today will be about stretching your legs and your hips in a very easy way. You only have to lay down on the floor. You will need a wall and a strap, a yoga strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, you can still use your towel or any scarf or any kind of strap that you have in your home. But I highly recommend you buy yoga straps because it will support you a lot when you are a yoga beginner. So let's lay down on the floor, and this stretch is my most favorite stretch, especially after working out. If you do sports like running and bicycling or go to the gym, you can use this as a after workout stretch. It's really good and thorough as an active stretch for your lower body. If you have not been doing any sport, you can still do this to stretch because it stretches out the main muscles that are tight in our everyday life now that we have to sit a lot, like the hamstring, the hip flexor group, and the calf. Okay, so now let's lay down on the floor and bring your feet to the wall as wide as your hips. Let's point your toes all up to the sky and lay down to the mat. Make sure that you are still pushing your feet into the wall, but you are far enough so that your legs can be straight on the floor. And now your heels are touching the ground and the wall, and you're pushing into the wall and pressing your legs down to the floor at the same time. Normally when we lay down like this, if you're resting, your feet will fall to the side like this, but we don't want to rest. We will stretch actively. And then let's keep your left leg pushing into the wall, bring your right leg up and wear the strap into your right foot. If your foot is so far away that you cannot find a way to put your strap into it, you can bring your left leg out so that it's easier for you to wear the strap into your right foot, but then you will push your left foot back into the wall. Hold the strap quite long so that your shoulders, your head can rest on the floor, and you can wrap your hand with the strap for one wrap so that it's easier for your hands. And now I want you to bring your heel bone to stack right on the top of your sitting bones. And it doesn't matter if you are bending your knees. Imagine if I draw a line from your heel bone down to your sitting bone. That line should be 90 degrees to the floor. And then let's flex your ankle so that you are now turning the sole of your foot up to the sky. Let's bring your heel up higher and bring your toes to point down toward your face. So you are stretching in the calf also. When you are here, you are stretching every muscle from your heel down to your sitting bones, and including your hamstring and your calf. So the hamstring is a very big muscle group that starts at your sitting bone, covering all the backside of your thigh, the backside of your knee, and it other ends attached to your shin bone. It's a very big muscle here. So here, if you feel like you're very tight and you feel like you cannot stay here because it's too intense for you, you can always move around the stretch, like pull with your arms and release like this, or strengthening your knee and bend your knee. So find some way to move around the stretch so that you don't have to stay still and being tortured by the stretch. Actually, try to enjoy the stretch. So as you stay in the pose, you're going to slowly get used to the pose. You can be more strict in your leg, or you can pull your leg a bit closer toward you, so you find more stretch in the back side of your leg. And then let's push your left foot into the wall and keep your left leg down on the floor. What happened here is that your left leg will be very easy to be lifted up like this, but we will not allow that to happen. It's an active stretch. That means both of your legs will have to work. One is pushing down to the ground and into the wall, and the other one is pushing up to the sky. And if you feel like your legs is shaking, it's very natural that when we stretch, it becomes shaking like that. I'm shaking too, just so you know. And I always joke to my yoga student that the leg is crying because there's so much tension and stress accumulating inside the legs. But now that you're stretching it out, it's crying to you. So this is a good time to show your legs that you care and you love your leg. Okay, and the longer you stay in the pose, the more you may get used to it, which means your muscles start adapting and lengthening. You can go deeper into the pose by pulling your leg closer to you or to make your knee a bit straighter. But I highly recommend you still bending your knee, like a micro bend, so that you stretch in the big muscles like at the calf and at the thigh and not the tiny part underneath your knee, because it's just painful and it's not as effective as stretching the big part out. Okay, and now you can slowly bring your foot down toward the floor and relax a little bit before we move on to the next thing we do. Feel how the new warm flow of blood flushing into your leg. Really nice here. And then we're going to do the next thing, the half happy baby pose. Now you're going to hold both of your strap with your right hand, and you can double wrap your hand so that your hand will not be too squeezed by the strap. Now you're going to bring your right arm inside your right knee and bend your right knee outside of the right arm. Make your shin bone about 90 degrees to the floor and flex at your ankle so that the sole of your foot is still pointing up to the sky. Now let's use your left hand to press your left hip down to the floor. Don't do this. Don't lift your left hip up because it will not stretch you in any big part we want to stretch. So keep your left hip right here and point your left toes up to the wall. Push your left leg into the wall and down to the floor as you do half happy baby shape on the other side. And here, if you feel like you're quite flexible, you can always walk your hand closer into your foot, or you can even hold the outside of your foot like I'm doing now. But I know that not many people are so flexible, especially if you do a lot of like strong hardcore sports. That's what I call like running and such. Then you can always hold the strap here, but try to make the shin bone 90 degrees to the floor and stay here. So stretching you in the big part, thick part of your hamstring. And if you're pushing your left leg into the wall and down to the ground, stretching you in the front of your thighs too. Stay here for a few breaths. And if you feel like you get used to it, you can always walk your hand closer and lowering your right knee toward the floor on your right side. Okay, and then let's straightening your legs up to the sky again. Of course, you can still bend your knee. I recommend you can still bend your knee, but this time let's hold the strap with your left hand. You can wear it one more time here if you want to with the strap. Let's use your right hand, use your right thumb to put into your hip crease. And really press your right hip down to the ground and push your hip away from your shoulders. So think of how you want both sides of your waist to be equally long. Now let's point your toes to the left side and bring your heel a bit to the right side and pull your leg to the left side. As long as you still have your right hip on the floor. So don't lift your right hip up. Push it down to the ground. And now you are lengthening through the outside of your foot. Let's bring your heel up to the sky and point your toes toward the ground here. Flex your ankle at about 90 degrees. You're going to feel it at the outside of your leg. So stretching you on the outside all the way from your hip through the outside of your thigh and your calf too. And what you're stretching here on the thigh is called IT band. is more like a fascia band than muscles. If you look at it on anatomy picture, it will be white rather than red like a muscle. So it's harder to stretch. And this is one of the movement that you can make to stretch it out. So always keep your right hip on the floor. Press your right hip on the floor actually when you bring your right foot to the left side. And eventually let's turn your whole body to the left side, including your left foot. Let's come a bit closer to the wall so that your left foot can still be pressing into the wall, and rest your other foot on the floor. Now you can walk your left hand closer toward your right foot. If you can reach your own foot, you can even hold your own foot. Otherwise, just keep holding with the strap. You can still bend your knee, but try to make your foot on the same level as your hip. Think of how your leg is making kind of a 90-degree angle to your body now. And try to straighten your knee like to the most that you can do with your body. Now let's open your right arm to the right side so your arms are pointing to the side like a letter T. And try to bring your right shoulder down to the floor. So you're not only stretching in the legs, you're also twisting yourself and stretching around your belly and your chest area. Now let's push both feet, one into the wall and one into the strap here. It's quite active here. You don't rest in this pose. You have to constantly pushing your feet into the wall and into the strap. You're going to feel the stretch happening all the way to your buttock on your right leg. So to do this routine today, I have been running and I really feel like it feels so good for my body. And this routine is not only good for you if you run or do bicycle or I don't know, weightlifting or such, but also for golfer. So if you play golf, you have to twist yourself to swing the golf stick. I think this is really good to train that, to make you more flexible and therefore you can swing more. So every time you exhale, let's try to press your right shoulder down toward the floor as you're still kicking your feet in two directions. And eventually you can slowly release your leg out of the strap and go back to the center. Stay here for a few breaths and feel how nice it feels on your right leg. Oh, I feel like my right leg is longer than my left leg actually. I feel really good. Just feel the blood circulation flushing into your right leg. And it's really good, especially if you play some sport or do some serious training. It will make you recover better and prevent injury as you train. So now let's prepare your legs into the wall again and point all your toes up to the sky as we're going to do on the left side. Now let's push your right leg into the wall and bring the strap into your left foot. The first one, the hamstring stretch. You can double wrap the strap around your hand. Keep your shoulders, your head and your neck relaxed on the floor. In some cases, people stretch one part of their body, but they become so tense on their face, the neck and their shoulders that they actually bring the tension from one part to their neck. So it's not good at all. Try to relax other part in your body. And here too, you can bend your knee, but try to stack your heel right on the top of your sitting bone and flex your ankle at about 90 degrees. So you're stretching everything from your heel to your sitting bone. And those are very big muscle groups like the hamstring and the calf. The same if you feel like your leg feel so tense. You can always move around the stretch, like go away and closer, closer and away. Or you can bend and straighten your leg and do it gently so that you don't have to stay still and suffer the stretch. Actually, try to make your mind enjoy it, because that's the only way that your body becomes relaxed and release. Meanwhile, try to press your right foot into the wall and down to the floor, so you get some stretch in the front of your right hip too. And if you remember how it felt on your right side, try to compare between your left and right. We always have a dominating side that works harder than the other side. And as you get used to the pose now, let's make the pose deeper by bringing your legs closer to you or strengthening your knee a bit more. But I still recommend you bend your knee slightly, so all the stretch will go to your big muscles. And let's raise your left heel up higher when you flex your left toes toward your face, so that you have more stretch in the calf. So even if you don't do any hardcore sports, like running or such, but you wear high heels or like shoes, like fancy shoes with high heels every day at work, the calf muscle is very tight too. And this is a great way to stretch it out. And if you don't do any sport, but you happen to have a job that you sit a lot during the day, the hamstring become very tight also. And in this case, it's weak and tight at the same time. While in sporty people, it's strong and tight. Okay, so let's bring the leg a bit closer and find your next boundary for the stretch. And stay there. You can close your eyes and breathe a lot of air in and out through your nose. Try to keep the breath calm to make your body and your mind think that this is a relaxing situation, not something dangerous. Don't think about this as pain, because your body may react and become panic and contract all the muscles, and therefore we cannot stretch so effectively. And if your leg is shaking, I want you to know that my leg is shaking too. You can think about it as how your leg is crying to you because it's stored up so much tension. It has been working so hard. Okay, and now you can slowly get your foot down to the floor and take a small break before we move on. And then let's do half happy baby. Bring your left arm inside your left knee and opening your left thigh out. You can hold the strap so that your foot can be pointing up to the sky and your shin bone can be like straight, like vertical, like 90 degrees toward the ground. And here, depends on how flexible you feel. You can always wrap your hand closer. If you're very flexible, you can also hold your foot. But anyway, use your right hand to keep your right hip on the floor. Really press it down here. And you push your right foot into the wall and down to the floor. So you're not only stretching the big thigh muscle behind your leg, but also the front of your right hip too. Let's stay here for a few breaths in this half happy baby pose. The full happy baby is when both legs look like your left leg now. And whenever you feel like you can go deeper into the pose, let's move your hand a bit closer toward your foot. And anytime you feel like you're ready for more stretch, let's bring your knee a bit closer toward the floor on your left side. Your right leg will always have a tendency to fall out, but don't let that happen. Always point your right toes up to the sky and press your right foot into the wall and down to the floor. Press the whole right leg down to the floor. Go one more time, a bit closer, and stay here for a few more breaths before we get out of the pose. And always pressing your right leg down to the floor. Okay, and then let's slowly get out of the pose. Bring your leg back into the beginning position, the hamstring position. This time you're going to hold the strap with your right hand. You can still bend your knee, that's fine. I'm bending my knee like this. And then you can use your left hand, bring your left thumb in your hip crease and really press your hip down to the floor and away from you. So think of how the side of your belly are equally long. Now let's bring your toes to point to the right side as you point your heel a bit to the left side. And then pull your leg to the right side as you pushing your hip down toward the floor. Don't make your left hip going off the floor. It has to be on the floor now. And it's stretching you on the outside of your leg. So again, what we're stretching here is the IT band that go from your hip bone on the outside to your knee. And it's more like a fascia band than a muscle, so it's quite hard to stretch. And here we are stretching it out, but you have to keep your left hip on the floor. My leg is shaking very much, so if your leg is too, that's absolutely normal. Just know that I'm shaking with you. But keep calm and just keep breathing long and deep breath as if you are very relaxed. And that's how you train your body to enjoy stretching. Okay, and then let's go and lay down onto your right side. Now everything is pointing to the right side, including your right foot. Let's come closer to the wall so you can still push your right foot into the wall now. And then about your left leg, let's keep your foot like kind of the same line as your left hip. You can hold your hand, right hand closer toward the left foot. Maybe you can even hold your hand onto your foot. And then let's open your left arm to the left side and turning your face to the left side into a twist. Now you have to push your feet, one into the wall and one into the strap. And at the same time, every time you exhale, try to press your left shoulder down toward the floor. So maybe you are here, you're quite far away from the floor. You can bring your hand, bend your elbow and bring your hand to over your head. And every time you exhale, you try to press yourself a little bit more toward the ground. This is not only a leg stretch, it's also a twist and a stretch for your belly and the side of your chest. Keep your breath calm and slow. You can even close your eyes and feel all these things that are happening on your body right now. Your left buttock is being stretched. And your belly is being twisted. But this is all good things that are happening on your body. It will do you good. If you do sport, it will boost you in the performance because you will recover better and you avoid injury. If you're not doing any sport, you just do this to stretch you out. This is very good stretch that bring blood circulation to the neglected parts in your body. So the longer you stay here, the more you get used to the pose and your shoulder may come closer to the floor. Maybe you are not on the floor like I'm doing now, but just listen to your own body and appreciate very tiny progress. I'm quite good at twisting, so I'm on the floor very easily. You don't have to compare yourself to me. Just feel how the stretch is working on your body and try to point out where you feel the stretch on your own. Later, when you get out of the class, you can comment to me and let me know where you feel the stretch. And now you can get your foot out of the strap and go back. Let's go away from the wall so that your legs can rest and opening to the side. You can shake your legs a little bit and you can bring your heels further away from your hips because now you gain more space in your legs. You can close your eyes here and feel the new blood circulation is flowing inside your left leg, feeling so nice. Let's imagine how this blood circulation is going to bring new, fresh energy to feed into your muscles, into your tissues and your cells. It will bring all the waste and all the things that you don't need, you don't want to store up anymore. All the tension from your legs back and going out through your breath. So now you can continue being here and enjoy this feeling when I get out of the pose and finish the class. This is my most favorite leg stretch routine and it feels really good. So if you do hardcore sport and heavy training every day, you can use this every day to stretch your lower body. If you haven't done anything and you want to become active, subscribe to my YouTube channel to receive yoga classes for absolute beginners. I'm going to turn you from being tight and weak to become strong and flexible. So I'll see you in next class then. Goodbye.